To say I've been busy is an understatement. Been getting after this sucker. Got the bed and the roll bar put on today. Had a buddy come over, give me a hand with it all. Dropped off a bunch of parts to get powder coated over at Spun Web by Philip. So I'll be able to get the interior put in tomorrow. It was hell getting that roof rack roll bar set up on. A lot heavier than expected. Built 454. Got a lot of stuff that's going to be going up on that roll bar. I'll be putting the electric steps back on it tomorrow. Finish running on my wiring, plumbing. Got both winches for the steps, and then you can see back up in there, that's the fuel pump. Magna Fuel 750, it's rated for 2,000 horsepower, more than I'll ever need. You got your pre-filter and after filter, and I got a regulator that's going to go back over there also. 15-gallon fuel cell. Everything's still right-hand drive. Got it going down to orbital valve underneath. Still got some more stuff to do to it, but I'm trying to have this sucker running here soon. Good morning. We got another cold day working on this monstrosity. Plan on building a battery box for that out of this piece of angle iron right here. I've already marked it all off. I want to cut these little 45s out. Let's see, right there. And then I'll be notching the tops right here, right there. Plan is, once I notch all that out, I should be able to bend it and make a complete rectangular shaped box for that Odyssey battery. Which, that battery, if anybody's need any type of audio or just performance stuff in general, electrical wise, G2 Dynamics, they're the ones who I got it from. Paul over there is just badass guy to work with, plethora of knowledge. He can help you out with anything you really need. If you're wanting to run 16 volts on your monster truck, audio, or run 12 volts, it don't matter. He can take care of you with all that. So, moving on, let's see, we got the interior put in for the most part yesterday. You got the bottom plate mounted, internal roll cage mounted, seats mounted, part of the center shifter mounted. Sway bars put on. I had the sway bars and all that interior stuff, everything that's black in there. Had all that powder coated yesterday from Philip Webb over there at Spun Web Powder Coating. Amazing job, per usual. Still got a couple parts I got to put on. Those are the link bars to the sway bars. Just a couple odd end brackets, whatnot. Today's goal though is to get the battery hooked up, built, get the radiator fully connected to the motor, plumbed to it. Still got to make a fuel hose going from my fuel pump to my regulator, and then another hose from my regulator to the back of that Dominator 1050. Still got to finish connecting the nitrous hoses and everything and mounts, whatnot. Just trying to get this sucker. I'd like to try to get it up and running today. We'll see. I mean, I already know the motor runs, but just to be able to get in the cab and be able to slap on that gas pedal and hear it roar, wake up, you know. So outside of all that, the other thing I have to do today is weld on the flanges onto these. Let's see. This is the flanges I'm welding on. Little turbo coupler deals. A lot easier than those little triple bolt flanges. So I'm gonna make it to where I can just take off one bolt to take the turn down off and put a muffler on when I get the truck street legal eventually. That way I can not wake up the neighbors at 3 in the morning. At least as much as possible. Here's your little update for the morning though. Got the steps on. Just got to hook up the cables to the winches. There's a little battery box. Just kind of jerry-rigged the wires right now. But you can see how I built it. It's stout. I shut the tailgate on the side. Just barely right here it covers. So, and that's just sitting up there for right now. Here's the interior. Shifter. Seat cover. Sway bars. I think that's about it. Yeah, you can hear the neighbors having a Super Bowl party out there, a bunch of jackasses. Well, it's 4 a.m. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Got the sway bars fully tied in, torqued down, ready to go. Front and rear. The headers, went ahead and welded that stainless. First time ever doing any kind of stainless welding, I went ahead and just did a MIG style, so nothing fancy, nothing perfect. But got the turn downs where I want them, using those turbo coupler flanges, 3.5 inch couplers. Like I said, got the headers put on, went ahead and got the spark plug wires all put back in place. Everything lined up. Let's see what else we got. Oh, yeah, I went ahead and mounted the train horns. Those are some, what are they, Nathan K3s, I want to say. Both nitrous bottles. I just got to start running my lines to everything. Still got to run 2 fuel lines, radiator line, the transcooler lines, and power steering and the rest of the wiring. Got my little test panel over here. I got to pull all that apart, find spots to install all that onto the truck. But she's coming together. Still got to finish rebuilding this seal setup. I don't know if I showed y'all this or not. I already got the cushion put into the driver's seat. Just got to put the passenger side in. Got the shifter fully mounted and ready. Cable's already ran. Like it so far. Still got to work on my winch setup. I keep having hell with that. I'm going to have to come up with a new design or just get a bigger winch. They're not wanting to hold together because they're made out of, I guess, cheap aluminum on the housing, so it keeps ripping threads out no matter what I put in there. So when I'm able to get a proper winch working, we'll have them steps fully lined up where they need to be, up against that bump stop. But there's where we're sitting for now. For those of you just now joining in on everything, that's a 454 in the bed with the turbo 400 on the other end. And a 12-inch drop, reverse rotation transfer case. So there we go. There's the reason why it's called Texas Toot. Here's another update. Got all the lights mounted up on the roof rack. Got 2 spotlights up center. The rest are all floodlights. Still have to run the wire into everything. Got the fuel lines fully finished up back in there. Wiring and fuel lines, transmission lines, all that's all over the place, so still got to clean it all up. Got the transcooler on the back fully mounted, lines are into that to the transmission. 5-gallon air tank fully bolted down and ready. Still working on the winch setup, working on putting the strap instead of a cable for the winch. I think that's about it for today. Can't really think of anything else. I'm still working on the power steering. Still got to finish running my lines. And still got to finish doing the radiator. running all my radiator hose and whatnot. But everything worked out great so far. A little progress each day. I don't know if I showed y'all this in another video. I already have the transmission shifter linkage and cable all ran, and even the selectable 4-wheel drive set up. So we're getting there. Gotta go pick up some more Lexane for this big box to contain the motor. Need about one more sheet. I go ahead and finish cutting the rest of it, get it all mounted, get everything cased in. Anyway, so there's y'all's update for today. Try to do a little bit more today. Let y'all check it all out. Like I said, hopefully have it going next month. See how far we get. So I decided not to get it running tonight. Don't want to be waking up the neighbors. But I went ahead and got all the hydraulic steering lines hooked up. Ran down the frame all the way up there. Radiator hoses are almost complete. Currently messing with the wiring, trying to get just kind of everything hooked up, getting to where I can test fire it tomorrow. There's part of the hose assembly for the radiator. But all that's left is to do electrical, connect the radiator, fill everything with fluids. I'll be able to fire up tomorrow and put my foot in that pedal, see how she sounds. There's y'all's update. So I've been working since 6 a.m. on this thing. Don't have it all nice and neat, but everything's put on how it needs to be. Got a makeshift switch panel. Got most of everything wired in. Fluids in. About to fire up in just a second. Well, I got some good news and some bad news. Good news is truck's ready to run. Bad news is battery's pretty dead. So, got on my fancy charger, charging up. Looks like tomorrow I'm gonna have to get the sucker up and running for you. The motor was barely wanting to turn over. So, I'll get y'all a video tomorrow, I guess, after I get off of work. But man, that that fuel pump, that sucker's loud. Everybody's gonna be telling the power steering's going out when they hear that sucker. But it's a big old motor. It's gonna be a hell of a ride once I get it going. Let's see how it goes tomorrow. I'd like to give a shout out to Chris and his crew over there at Audio Edge. Donated a piece of black vinyl for me. That way I can go ahead and wrap my switch panel, and I still got to build another panel for my gauge cluster to go up in the dash. But I have plenty for what I need. Just kind of goes to show, go shop at your local audio stores, just any local business. You know, they'll take care of you, help you out, and you know, if you can, keep money in town. I could have bought the stuff off Amazon, but I mean, shoot, they had it in stock here in town, and hell, it didn't cost me nothing. So, shop at your local business, local audio shops, everything. Alright, got the switch panel all wrapped up. Just got to cut out the holes and insert the switches. Only took that one little square. So here's the end result of the switch panel I made. It's going to be going in place of where the factory radio was. So, turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Be installing it here soon. Got the switch panel installed. I already have these two wired up for the fuel pump and the MSD, which you'll be able to hear the fuel pump. So everything works just fine. Got the train horn button. Got a dual USB outlet, 3 amp. Got 2 cigarette lighters also on each side, or one on each side, with my emergency shutdown button. So worked out good. Just got to build one for the dash now, for the gauges. So I'm over here connecting my drive shaft with a bunch of these grade 8 half-inch bolts. Well, this fancy new Milwaukee Impact snapped that sucker like it was nothing. Like, damn. So hopefully I can find another grade 8 bolt around here. If not, I gotta go to the store, go pick up some more. But yeah, you want some power, get you a Milwaukee. Got y'all a 4:30 a.m. update. Still got to tear apart the carb, clean it out. Like I said, that fuel's been sitting for like a year. That was sitting up inside the bowls. So pop it open, clean it, get it back on the truck. What I got accomplished tonight, got the rear end done. Just got to run the lines. I got to get some more fittings from the auto parts store. Went ahead and mounted my new switch. That way you can manually operate the steps from the outside. Got the tachometer mounted. I got a toggle switch. I still got to wire in. I got another one I'm going to have to wire in also for the steps. That way I can operate them from the inside of the cab. Getting down here. Front end is fully done finally. Brake lines ran, vent line, everything. So it's just a matter of getting this, I guess, conundrum of wires I got going on all sorted out and cleaned up and redone. Got a lot more wires to add. But here's y'all's little update. That's that dark manifold. Powder coated from Spun Web over in Vidor, Texas. Does some amazing work. He did the steps, he did my sway bars, did these brackets. Well worth it. Hell, he even did the white part on the brake rotor. And the train horns. He's done quite a bit on this truck, actually. Anyways, there's y'all's update. Now, I ain't shot a video in a minute, but I figure I'll go ahead and let y'all see the sucker run. I've been busy wiring it all up and getting it ready. Missing out on Rednecks and Paychecks this weekend, but we will be at Louisiana Mudfest. She's a little rowdy. I was only getting up to about 2,500 RPMs on there, but she'll go up to around 6,500. Got you another update on the build. So last night I designed a gauge pod setup for the truck. This was the original design right here, made out of acrylic mirror, about, what is that, 1/8 inch. This is originally what I was going to use. Downside of this stuff, it can be kind of fragile. Well, while I had this up in there with all my gauges, it happened to fall off the table whenever I was using my portaband. Portaband got hung up, shook the table, made it fall on the ground. When it fell on the ground, it broke it right there and cracked it somewhere. I don't know, it broke in 2 different spots. Yeah, right there if I can get it. Yeah. So it cracked in a couple different places. A little too flimsy for me. I mean, you can see how it's snapping real easy. So went ahead and built it out of steel this time. Gonna wrap it, put my gauges in it, we'll be set. Getting ready to do some more vinyl work. Got it primed up, ready to be wrapped. Got it wrapped. See if we can get some gauges up in there. Got the gauges in. Everything worked out pretty good. Gonna look nice up in that dash. That is a GPS boat speedometer. So I'll be able to see how fast I'm going. It's also got the, what is it, tripometer in there, odometer, all that stuff. You can change all the different light colors inside of it also. And from what I've seen online, it's pretty accurate. So everything worked out good on it. Time to get it in the dash. So I got everything kind of set up in place. The only thing I don't really have wired in is the speedometer just yet. Get everything set up. Get all my winch electronics down in there. MSD. Got my little dome light set up. Back in there. Both of these are lit up because I don't have the power light, or not the power, the battery cables going to the winches yet. So right now it's getting the relay power off of it, that's why they're staying lit up. But I control the driver and passenger side of the truck steps from the inside the cab, and then I got the switches on the step. Then I also have wireless remotes over there for each step. Also have these wired into the in-cab running lights, I guess you'd say. So it's gonna work out pretty good. Just gotta do my oil line for the oil pressure, do the fuel pressure line, which I got a fitting coming in that'll connect the end to the regulator. But that's what I got going on today.